Okay, so welcome back to this channel. So now in this video we will implement this search, this one, and also we will implement the pagination on the front end. In my previous video I have implemented the filter, search and pagination on our API, and now in this video I will only focus on search and pagination, and then in my next video I will handle these filters. Okay, so for that I need to install two packages. First of all, the query string that help us to manage the query that we pass in here in the URLs. Okay, so we will install this query string package, and also I will install react.js pagination. So this package will help us to manage our pagination. So I will install these packages first of all. So copy that, go back to my VS code, and let's install that. npm I paste it here, query string, and then I also have to install the react.js pagination. Okay, so I copy that and I put that here, and let's install these first of all. Okay, so packages are installed successfully. I start my server, and now let's first of all focus on the search. So for that I simply go to my components. In the layouts I have this search.jsx, and here I have search field and the search button. So what I do is I will simply first of all create here a use state variable. So that is going to be const keyword, okay, keyword, then set keyword, that is going to be use state. Okay, I will also import that from here. So use state, and we have used here the use state, so we have to make this component client side component. So I use here use client. All right, and now we have our keyword here. Now I will bind that here. So that is going to be value is going to be the keyword, and then the on change I will type here set keyword. Okay, and the set keyword I will set here e dot target dot value, so it will set the value in the keyword. All right, now I will create my submit handler. So that is going to be const submit handler, that is going to be an arrow function, and that I have my e, so event dot prevent default, so prevent default, and then I check that if keyword exists. Okay, so if user has typed the keyword, then I have to move to this URL. Before that I have to also import here use router. So import the use router from next/navigation. Okay, and that is going to be const router use router, and then if that keyword exists, then I will simply push the user. So user dot push to slash, and then put in here question mark for the query, and then I type here my keywords. So keyword is going to be this keyword, and I have to type here backticks. So I add that. Okay, so if keyword exists, then we will push the user to this URL. Otherwise we will push the user to the home page. If user doesn't pass anything in the field, then I will use this submit handler on this form. So that is going to be on submit, I will use submit handler. Simply save it, and now let's test it out. If I go back to the Chrome, and if I type here apple and press enter, you can see that here we get here our question mark, and then keyword is equal to apple. So we get our query in here, and what I will do is, it is not working on this here, so I will actually remove this submit handler from here, and let's remove this one as well. Okay, then I will use this submit handler on this button. Okay, if you want to use that on enter, you can also handle that here, but I will add that on click. Okay, I will type here submit handler. So now if I reload this page and type here apple, apple, click here search, so now it will move to the apple. Okay, so now we have our keyword in the query. Now we have to pass this apple of this keyword on the back end. So for that I will use my query string to handle this. Okay, so I go back to my VS code, I go to the app page.jsx, and then in here I first of all import the query string that I have installed. So query string from query string, and then I will manage here my URL params. Okay, so in this video we only have the keyword and page. So first of all the keyword, okay, we will get the keyword from the search params, and we have to get the search params from the props from here. Okay, so search params will help us to access these. Okay, so I will pass that in the get products like this, then I will get that right here. Okay, so search params dot keyword, and then after that I will simply type here const search query is going to be query string, okay, dot stringify. In that I will pass here the URL params. So now it will handle all that stuff for us, and it will prepare our query, search query. If I log that here, search query, okay, and then we have to also pass the search query in here, okay, to the backend. So I copy that from here and I pass that after this product, put in a question mark, and then I type here the search query. Now it will handle all the fields that we will enter in the URL params. Okay, if I simply save it from here, and you can see that here we get here keyword is equal to apple, which is this one. Okay, if I search save it, you can see that search query is the keyword apple. So it will handle all the URL params that we enter in this object. Okay, so if I simply save it, go back to the Chrome, you can see that here we get here nothing because we don't have any product with the name apple. If I type here sure and click on search, you can see that here we can have a product with the sure in it. Okay, and let's type here solo 3. So solo 3, if I press here search, you can see that we get here this solo 3 headphones. Okay, so this means that our search is working properly. And now let's handle our pagination, and for the pagination we have installed this package, that is React.js pagination. So in that basically we have to pass in here the active page, the current page number, then the items counts per page, which is results per page, then the total item count, how many products we have, the total number of products, and then we have here a page name display, that is 5, and then on change we can handle the page click. Alright, so what I do is I simply go back and I close this from here, this from here, go in the components, in the layouts, I create a new component here with the name pagination. Okay, so pagination.jsx, then that I will write my code. So first of all that is going to be a client side component. Okay, so I will use here use client, then I will import my pagination. So import pagination from React.js pagination. Okay, and let's call it custom pagination to make it unique. Okay, so I copy that from here and I put that here, and let's actually rename it with the custom pagination.jsx like this. Okay, and now in that we will pass two values. One is the results per page, and then the products count. Okay, because we have to pass that in the pagination. And then first of all I will use here my router. So const router is going to be use router that I will import from next.js /navigation. Okay, then I also have to import here the use search params. So search params is going to be use search params, and with this use search params we will get access to the params in our URL. Okay, so if we have foo is equal to bar, if you type search params.get foo, it will get the value of the foo, which is the bar. Okay, we also have to use here search params. Alright, so now I will type here let page is equal to search params dot get the page number, otherwise it is going to be 1 by default. Okay, and page is going to be number, we have to make sure that it is a number and pass the page in here. Okay, because like if I go back, like this keyword, we also going to have page is equal to 2, page is equal to 3 in the query. So we will check that if that exists, then we will use that and store that in the page, otherwise it is going to be 1. Okay, because we also have to pass that in the pagination right here, the active page. Okay, so this is going to be our active page. And then let's first of all design our pagination component. So I type here I give here a class name that is going to be flex, then margin top of 20, then justify center. Okay, then that I will put in here my pagination component. So I will copy that from here, copy that, and I put that here. So in the active page I will pass in here my page, which is this one. Okay, then the items count I will pass in here my res per page that I will get from here. Then in the and the product count I will type here product count, and we don't need the page range display here. I will remove that. Then on change I will type here handle page change. Okay, so I will create that here. That is going to be this. Okay, now in that we will get access to the current page number. Okay, so we will use that later. Okay, so in the handle page change we will get the current page number, okay, on which the user will click. Okay, so after these values we also have to pass in here the let's pass in here next page text. Okay, I think so. Search that here next page text, you can see that. So I copy that from here. That is going to be next. In the same way you have the previous page text, that is going to be previous, and then we have here the first page text. Okay, and then we have here the last page text. Okay, you can change that according to your requirements. So I will call it first, and I call this one last. Okay, and then we have to also add the designing classes. We are using the tailwind, so I will use here item class, which is the main class. This one, so item class, you can see that default class for the li tag. Li means the each box of pagination, so I will use here item class. Okay, and then I need here the active link class name. Okay, so we also override these styles, and then we have to define here the active class, which is this one. Okay, and for that I will use the designs from tailwind. I will use tailwind classes, so I copied that just to save some time. You can get that from my Git repo. So for the item class I will use these classes: narrative, inline flex, item center, border gray, bg wide. These are just classes to style it. And then I have here the active link class, which is this one, and then active class, which is going to be this one. Okay, so these are just tailwind classes like this. Simply save it. And now we have to first of all display this pagination component on the home page. So I go to the components in the product, in the list product, and after this I will simply type here custom pagination that I will import from the custom pagination. And then in that we have to pass two values. One is the res per page, so res per page, and remember that we are passing that from the backend, so that is going to be this data. Okay, I will move this data from here as well. That is going to be data dot res per page. Okay, and after that we also have here the products count, and that I will pass in here my filter product count. Remember that if I go to the back end in the controllers, in the product controllers, we have here this filter product count, so I will use that here. Okay, and pass that in here. Simply save it. Now we will pass these two values in the custom pagination, and then we will use that right here. Okay, so if I go back to the Chrome, so filter product count is not defined. All right, so we have to add here data dot filtered product count. Simply save it. And now if I go back, you can see that here we have here the pagination, but we didn't get any page. Okay, and if I go back to here, and let's change the results per page to 2, save it, and go back, reload this page. So now we have 2 results per page, but still the pagination is not working. Okay, so I go back, let me check. So in the custom pagination I will pass res per page and then the products count, which is S. Save it. And now if I go back, you can see that here we get here 1 and 2. Okay, if I click on 2, we have to handle the page click. So let's go back, and I go in the close this one, go in the custom pagination, and first of all that is center. Okay, and then in the handle page click I have to basically get the current page number, and then I have to move the user to that page number. Okay, for example, if I click on page 2, I have to type pass in here page 2, then I will get the page 2 from here, I pass that to the backend. Okay, so I simply go back, and then here, and then here I have to set the page number in the query. Okay, if I go back, I have to set here in the query. For that we have to use URLs search param. Now this URL search param is read only. We cannot write use this search params to write in the URL. This is read only. Okay, so that's why we have to use the URL search params. So type here let query params. Okay, and then I will in here I will check that if window or type of window is not equal to undefined, then this means that it is loaded and we can store that here. So query param is going to be new URL search params. Okay, now in that I will pass in here my window dot window dot location dot search. Okay, so now we can use this query params to get and set the values of the page. Okay, again this URL search param is a read only, we cannot write with that. Okay, so get a read only URL search param object. Okay, so now we have here our query param. I will simply check that if the page exists, then we have to update that, otherwise we have to append or add a new query. So I check that if query param dot has this page, then we simply have to update the value, else we have to append the value. Okay, so for that I type here query params dot set. I have to set here the page that is going to be current page. Remember that here we have the page number that user has clicked on, and if the page is not there, we have to simply add the query. So I will use here append. Okay, so if the page is there, it will update the value, otherwise it will append the value. And now we have to simply move the user to that page. So I simply type here const path. What is the path? That is going to be window dot location dot path name. Okay, we will get path name from here, and then we will concatenate here the question mark, and then we have to pass in here the query. That is going to be query params dot toString. Okay, and then we will get here our path name. I will simply use here router dot push. I will pass in here path. Okay, if I log here path, so log path, save it to show you here, save it. And now if I go back and if I click on 2, you can see that here we get page is equal to 2. And if I go back, or I can go to the inspect on the console, you can see that here the path is going to be this. So this is exactly what we want. Okay, so now we are getting page on the query, and now we have to pass that on the back end. So I go back and go in the app, then page.jsx, then we have to pass that here. That is going to page is going to be search params dot page, and that is it. Now query string will handle that, so simply save it. And now if I go back and see that now we are on page number 3. If I click on 4, this is our page number 4, second page, and then the first page. Okay, so this is that our pagination is working properly. And if I type here m, click on search, you can see that we get here only 4 results. So if I go to page number 2, we have here 3 results. This means that our search and pagination is working at the same time like this. Okay, so in this way it will work. And also we have to remove this from here, and for that I go back and we just have to type here class name like this. Okay, if I simply save it, now go back, Now you can see that it is gone. If I reload it, that is gone. Now we can simply move through our application like this. Okay. And also if I search here anything like Apple, press here enter, you can see that it is not working on enter. We have to manually click on this button, and to avoid that, what I do is I go back in the components, in the layouts, I go to the search.jsx, and then I use this submit handler also on submit. Okay, if you just submit the form, then we will use that as well. That is going to be on submit. Okay, and then here I will add here sorry, e.prevent default. Okay, so e.prevent default, like this. Simply save it. Now if I go back, and now if I type here like sure and press here enter, now it is working on enter. If I type here monitor and click on search, it is also working on the click on the button. Okay, so that's the end of this video. If you have any question, you can post that in the comment section. I will definitely reply there. And you can also get the source code of this video in the description. So in my next video I will work on my filters. So I will see you in the next lecture.